If you are a fan of HBO's Mare of Easttown, you'll want to take a look at Task. It's a 7-episode limited series starring Mark Ruffalo and Tom Pelphrey. It's emotional, gritty, and tense, but is the case worth watching? In the working-class suburbs of Philadelphia, an FBI agent heads a task force to put an end to a string of violent robberies led by an unexpected family man. Because this is a weekly episodic release, you're going to need the patience to go on the entire ride. Each episode, while it is full of drama, mystery, anxiety, and character complexities, it's also patient in the presentation. Even the first episode feels slow. We alternate between watching the two main characters beginning to gain a glimpse into who they are as people, which then is also going to inform their decisions in later episodes. Now, thankfully, each episode is meaty. They're all about an hour at least, if not even a little bit more, and there's a lot of story complications that prevent the narrative from getting stale. Mark Ruffalo is a downtrodden and tired FBI agent. He creates the persona of Tom to be hunched over, tired, and then just resigned to a depressed state of mind. And we've seen similar performances from Ruffalo in the past, so this isn't a unique character that he's crafting, but it's still effective. Over the course of the first few episodes, we're provided a lot of the context for why he is how he is. And at times, this particular story arc can feel a little unnecessary, kind of like a tangent, but the parallels to other storylines resonate better once the story nears the final few episodes. And this familial plot arc, it also works to build more depth for his character. I mean, he could simply just be a grumpy and old agent who's nearing retirement and isn't very motivated. But instead, we get a layered persona that can be both wrathful and merciful. Tom Pelphrey is the real standout for the story, though. While he's portrayed as the villain within it, he's more of an anti-hero. Just this character who isn't necessarily a bad guy, but is doing bad things for good motives. I was impressed by the conflicted mindset that Pelphrey portrays for Robbie. When plans go pear-shaped, he's not quick to act as a thug or a killer. He's mainly compassionate, and he has a soft heart. But he doesn't give up that ferocity and protective edge, even though he has that softness. And there are moments that feel like whiplash sometimes. He goes from happy or calm to explosive, which then increases the stress and urgency of interactions. And at times, he's a frustrating character because when certain issues arise, if he were to just respond rationally, he would save himself a crap ton of grief. But then we would also be robbed of edge-of-your-seat intensity. This also stars Emilia Jones, Raul Castillo, Fabian Frankel, Tuso Mbedu, Allison Oliver, Sylvia Dionizio, Jamie McShane, Sam Keeley, and Martha Plimpton. There's a lot. While they don't share the same screen time equally, each of these are integral to the plot. And we do have some other side characters who are certainly background players, and they add some depth to the storylines, but this group that I just listed, they all contribute in some massive ways. Something that you may feel a bit odd as you progress through the series is that towards the end, some of the case is concluded, but the show isn't over, leaving a decent amount of time before the entire resolution. And the pacing during these last couple of episodes, it's driving and intense, and there is a consistent ramping up of tension as the series goes along. So while this may start out feeling like it's slow or that it's dragging, it's more like a car with no brakes that's beginning down an incline. As we get further along in the show, it's wild and frenzied, with several arcs beginning to culminate and then merge into a big explosion. The show uses flashbacks to help build out context for situations and characters. And while this is typically an understood time jump, there are a few times that it just took a minute to determine if it was actually looking back in the past rather than just taking place in the present. The characters don't change much at all from past to present, especially in their appearances, so the line gets blurred and then can be frustrating when a scene goes back in time and we can't tell. The story also has a tendency to jump around in locations due to the several different arcs that are playing out. It's not totally a choppy feeling, but there are moments that can feel more as distractions and big tangents than something that's contributing positively to the overall narrative. While this is solidly a crime drama, it's also very deeply entrenched in family themes. All of the major character interactions, and even a few of the side characters, all dive into what family means, the excellent and horrific elements that can be seen, and then how we deal with trauma. So many of the characters are presented with the choice of forgiveness or vengeance, and they don't always play out as expected. Now for me, the crime aspect became a very secondary element, enhancing the family conflict, but never overshadowing it. And because of this deliberate focus on family relationships, be prepared for some shocks that you might see coming, but will still create a lasting impact. Both main arcs examine the ideas of loss, grief, even revenge, and they're both delved into through vastly different viewpoints. In one area, we get to see through the eyes of therapy and legal discussions, following a more regimented series of steps that we can anticipate and then predict. The other is through a more rogue perspective, progressing through grief without the guidance of established methods, but instead just figuring it out as they go, which mainly includes ignoring any notion of dealing with the actual trauma. Both aspects, though, they're intriguing and relatable, with Ruffalo and Pelphrey plunging us into their psyches so that we can feel the sadness, anger, confusion, and rage. And it's impressive at how they can pull us into their mindsets simply through their emotional states. I was enthralled with the tragicness of the series. That makes it sound like it's a depressing and morose show. It's actually not. Yeah, there is peril, disappointment, and betrayal, but there's also beauty and compassion that's interwoven to create something that's a mix of escapism and reality. And this isn't always going to leave you with a smile or even happy mood when the episode ends. But thanks to some riveting character portrayals, intense dynamic arcs, and increasingly suspenseful conflicts, this makes the weekly release worth the watch and then really could have you clamoring for more with the nail-biting cliffhangers. Now, I enjoyed Mark Ruffalo in this, and his performance I thought was captivating thanks to the familial complications that his character faces. But his hunched and mumbling persona makes him less dynamic, especially when showcased against other co-stars. Tom Pelphrey is riveting as the show's anti-hero, crafting a character that should revile us, but instead becomes endearing thanks to an inner softness and outward devotion that makes his empathy eclipse any criminal affiliations. While this is a patiently unfolding story, when viewed in the entirety, it's compelling and brutal, mixed with gut-wrenching and heartwarming storylines that are designed to be unforgettable. There's a little sex and nudity, a ton of profanity, and then a lot of violence. I give Task 4.5 out of 5 couches. So what's a crime drama that you can recommend to me? I would love to hear about it in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.